Oh, Rebecca.
All right, calling the meeting to order. We need to do the pledge first.
Sure. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, we had, you folks didn't see, but Jared stopped by to say hi earlier. So just want to say a quick hello to everybody on the committee. Met some of our early arrivals who missed the memo on the 5 o'clock time. So thank you for sticking around.
Nice tour on the outside of the building.
It's a nice day for it.
Yeah.
At least it was only half an hour. Do we have any guests online? We don't have anybody online.
So let me see.
I don't think we have any guests in person either. So.
Nope.
Well, I like how Justin's head is just kind of floating in space there.
Oh, sorry about that.
Yeah, you're good.
Not used to the new layout.
Move closer to us.
Don't worry about it.
Okay, I think, did everybody get a chance to look at the minutes? Any questions, concerns, issues?
I was interested by the bike thing that they were talking about.
Yes, we're going to talk about that in
Very
a little bit
interesting.
here. I did also mention the ECB memo to the town board at the town board meeting as well, so they were aware that that was in there, just in case. So somebody want to make a motion to approve the minutes from the last one?
Move the motion.
All in favor? Motion carries. We don't have any guests, so I don't think we need to worry about privilege of the floor. Shauna, did you want to have any reports in the development?
Sure. We our deadline day was Monday for December's meeting. So we will have our PRC meeting a week from Monday, and then we'll have our referrals for you.
Oh, sorry, I'm gonna have this on because there's the ongoing water issue right now, so I apologize. It's gonna make noise at me occasionally, so sorry about that. Okay, so the deadline is December, for the December meeting was what? Did you say?
Was Monday.
Monday.
Yep. Yep.
Okay. We don't have any referrals from town board, but I don't know. When are we discussing? Do we put that?
Yeah,
Okay,
I
so
can
it's a
send.
new business.
Yeah,
I did
just
put
see
it
if you
down.
should.
We'll put on there.
Yeah.
Okay, great. So we'll just let that go for now. Anything from CIC, Pat, that you wanted to share?
I'm trying to think of what, let's see, we didn't have the
We didn't
last
have a
meeting,
meeting.
and what was before that? What did we talk about before that? Who gave a report?
Ag.
Or was that the one?
It was the ag report. We talked a lot about solar.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Which we're gonna talk about here coming up, so.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and we didn't have anything this last time.
Right.
Okay, ordinance we're gonna talk about a little later here as well, so let's just dive right into the PRC referrals then. So did anybody have a chance to go out to either of these? I just looked at them online, but I did not actually get to go out in person to either one.
I
Anybody
just
else?
drove by Fisher Hill Road. Didn't
They're not the
even
most
get out of the
accessible
car.
spots.
Yeah.
There's
No.
especially the Black Point.
The other one's
Yeah.
just way down at the lake.
Yeah.
I mean, our company was there, but I personally was not there.
Okay. Okay, well, why don't we pull them up then and see what we can figure out from
All right.
the worlds of encores.
Let's see.
Kimberly knows where everything is now.
She does because that's she puts it on there.
She is now the finding stuff expert.
There we go.
I feel like that's a mom skill.
I don't have it with this yet.
What's it?
She said, I feel like it's a
skill to
mom
find
skill. I'm like,
everything.
I still don't know how to find everything on these
You
things.
could teach us all, I feel.
Well, we were gonna kind of have that at one of the meetings just a little at some point, but it hasn't timed out
We
well.
will. Maybe a winter. That'll be a winter meeting.
Mhm. When's your busiest time for referrals from PRC usually?
I can't say because it's been
Just about a year,
weirdly
2 years.
busy.
Yeah.
Like yeah.
And you're like a year and a half at the town now, right? Or-
Yeah, a year and a half. Mhm. Yeah,
It's always busy.
it's
Yeah.
always
For
busy.
one thing
It
or
hasn't.
another.
It hasn't really slowed down.
It's not
Yeah.
a slow season. Okay.
No.
People are probably catching up after all the COVID stuff.
Or they start planning for down the road, you know.
Yeah, good.
No, we.
I'm glad the Fed's raised the interest rate one more time. Just kidding.
Now that you bought your house. My mortgage is good to go. Okay, so which one is this? This is Fisher Hill?
Fisher Hill, yeah.
It's a weird shape.
Yeah, that's the first thing I noticed. I'm like, what a bizarre shape.
So is
How
that
did that
another
happen?
property just like cut out?
Yeah,
right by
there's
the-
another house there.
Mhm.
Okay.
You know, it's a cleared area, but
It's like a,
the ag statement said they're not doing anything with
You
it.
can't see
looks like
property
there's a
lines from
garden
the
area
air.
back there.
They
if you
have a
drive by.
giant garden, and
Yeah.
that's it.
It's funny how that is though, isn't it?
A giant garden where?
If
Yeah,
you
they
zoom
got
it.
in, it's kind of
Where?
right, keep going up, right, yeah.
Oh, there.
Yeah,
Mhm.
you can kind of see it driving.
There it
down
is.
the road.
Yeah, big garden.
Oh,
Mhm.
It's pretty heavily fenced off for the deer.
Smart.
Interesting.
Got it. We asked them to update their plans with the tree lines and a little
Yeah.
more information about what's existing on site.
No, they didn't have any landscaping thing. in
And
there.
landscape, right, and we did not get
Yeah,
an
I did see that.
updated landscaping plan from them.
Cause that would be nice to know because they're like really far back from the road.
Yeah, they thought that the landscaping was really what was there, was their landscaping.
Was there a variance with this
Mm-mm.
proposal? Okay.
No, no variance. It's a pretty straightforward, single family residential.
Yeah,
Cause it would be nice to know if they're planning on like turning a lot of this into grass, which I would advise against.
Right. That's a big parcel.
well, you put that in the notes since we don't have a
Mhm.
landscaping plan.
Yep.
Is this in the scenic view shed at all?
I don't think so.
no.
I don't think anything up here is.
Okay.
Yeah,
Cause I just noticed that, I know their house was like higher
higher. Yeah,
on the property and I couldn't quite tell.
yeah, it doesn't hit Fisher Hill.
Yeah, I don't think so.
You know, it doesn't look that steep driving by, but you look at their site plan
Yeah.
and they're doing all kinds of things.
With the driveway.
With riprap going up there.
I think, yeah, they're putting check dams in
Yeah,
along the driveway.
yeah.
Here, you tell me, you know where the property is going.
Oh, I love this map.
We really should get that as a layer on Encore.
Oh, that would actually. be
You know
really
what?
cool.
Yeah.
We should have, didn't we combine stuff in the GIS or whatever, or incorporate some of this? No, that was a project early on when I first came on board.
That is a GIS layer where, oh, this one. I bet Encore, we have our own special little app with them. I bet they would do that for us. That'd
Yeah,
be
that
really
would be
nice.
helpful.
Fisher Hill is,
Way down
where is
No,
it?
Way down
south,
south.
South.
further south.
Where am I?
32.
Oh, yeah,
Almost to Bristol.
yeah.
Yeah, it's just,
Way on the
that
border.
purple
way
line
out.
is Bristol.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
We're good.
all right, cool.
Do they want to put a septic system in as well?
Yeah,
Yeah,
they have to.
do that, yeah.
I'm seeing you down there. We don't want people to build houses.
So I would suggest, you know, if they can put in some shrubs or trees or whatever, you know, because we don't have a landscaping plan. So if they can put in some native. I don't know.
I'm sure the two will couple that with the planning board will ask them for.
Yeah.
But that's a good comment.
Are any of the streams in danger from their septic system? Do we know where they're placing it or anything or?
None of the blue lines are on the map.
Yes. Detail.
The 20-acre park.
So
I know,
there-
it's huge.
There's,
The stream is like way over.
Yeah.
It is, okay, so it's
Yeah.
definitely not
Mhm.
an issue then.
Yeah, they just said, oh, it's on that one. They showed us a swale,
Yeah.
but it feeds a little pond / wetland area.
And it's not, there's no variance, so it's not within a certain feet of the stream. So I don't have any comments. If anybody else has anything further.
just landscaping.
Yeah, owners should consider geothermal or heat pump. and,
Yes.
Okay.
Thank
and
you for
Consider,
allowing us
maybe solar, I think they have a southern exposed roof, they might want to consider solar energy as well.
I would, I think more than just consider, we should put something like strongly advised to install
Geothermal.
geothermal. It's a perfect property for
It
it.
actually is. There's no constraints. They have enough room to do it.
Also, instead of like grass, we could recommend doing like native wildflowers or something if they wanted to start like a field to populate the property instead of just lawn.
Like a natural meadow.
Yeah, just like letting it grow out there. I mean, they're near some wooded areas. It would help.
What did they call that with not the shotlands, the sands, micro grass, or remember the grass that they grew?
I know you can grow
On the-
clover too.
The
is very
sands
good.
property.
I have it in my yard.
You know which
There's
one.
a lot of-
Tishner Point.
Because I was gonna say, there's a lot
Oh,
of
yeah.
beautiful.
Remember they
native
did like
grass.
they
Yes,
made
yes,
like
yes.
it was like they called it something special,
Mhm,
like
mhm.
micro grass
right.
or some special grass that they
That was one of
that
the
was
first ones we did.
native.
And they had the grass roof too, didn't they?
Yeah, oh yeah.
Oh, the people with the green roof.
Yeah.
Yeah, the green roof
Oh.
around all their plantings around the house were
Hmm.
native.
Native,
Mhm, yeah.
but yeah, that would be the only thing I'd say.
Yeah, but thanks for bringing up the geothermal. That's a good.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's,
We were talking about
We're talking about
adding
doing
that
as
straight
our
up in your
checklist.
checklist.
Mhm.
Mhm,
Just because we never think about it.
mhm.
It's effective and in the long run, it makes sense.
Well, Rob Richardson sold me, like, I'm like, all right, I'm gonna put one in right now.
he was talking
Yeah.
about how there was gonna be like a cutoff for like gas hookups and stuff, so.
There is.
There is,
If
yeah.
people can consider this now, it's to their advantage.
I mean, well, anyway, there's gonna be a lot of things happening with that when that goes into
That'll-
effect, so.
Mhm. Now that'll be
They're
for new builds,
Yeah, like well.
Right.
My understanding was that there's things in that, like if you change your driveway in some way, shape or form, you're required to install an EV charger. It's one of the things in it, so.
Yeah, I don't see
Lots of
how they
things like
would,
that.
you know, retrofit. I mean,
Retrofitting
some of these,
would be-
you know, these homes that are heated with radiator, you know, how are heat, have no, you know, duct
That's
system.
where they're doing the heat pump
Uh,
things. They're trying to get heat
Yeah.
pumps.
These
So
ones.
we had that, we had electric baseboard,
Yeah,
and we went geo. Just
So what'd you
because the payoff was in a few years, so it was new ductwork, everything. so-
yeah, ductwork from the attic and from the basement or?
So it's a single level ranch, so it's pretty easy. They
Okay.
centrally located the main
Yeah.
part of
Yeah.
the system, and then we're able to run the ductwork either way.
Who did your work?
ACES
Yeah.
out of Pioneer Falls.
oh yeah, I see them a lot
Yeah,
now.
they do a lot.
Rob was great at the fair, by the way.
Good,
He was a
good.
really nice
He was
addition to
really
have
good.
and very informative, and he had several people come in. We might be doing something with the, we might be trying to do something going forward with some, creating a program with them.
Yeah,
so.
I at least want him to get in here and do his presentation.
Mhm, yeah,
So we talked about that this winter.
Oh, that would be nice, and
Yeah.
have it via Zoom, so
Yes.
anybody can.
Mhm.
But that might be, maybe we can get to it later, but that might be a good topic to bring up in one of the monthly newsletters, just if that's
Oh
gonna
yeah, that's a really good idea.
start kicking it
Yeah.
off, if it's gonna be
Mhm.
something the town's focusing on in the future.
Eric also convinced my father to get the bigger compost bin as well,
oh, good,
as well as the small ones.
good, good, good.
Right, right.
Very cool. Which reminds me, tell your people, I still have 2 plants up there.
Hold
I
on
know
just a
they're
second.
Oh, just
not being well
somebody
taken
take
care of
them
by
and
me,
plant them or
so
dump
does
them.
anybody?
Just
What-
take them
It's a
home.
cornflower and there's, I don't know what they're,
Yeah, take it
come
home.
on up if you want. you
What if they
want.
come in and pick it up?
Well, too
No,
bad.
it's been
They
a
missed the
week
boat.
now, and I've only had.
Can I
one
plant
person-
them now?
Yes.
Sure.
Oh, yes.
All right,
Who's
I'll
want me
take
to
them.
plant them
This
and
is the
say,
best time to plant.
sorry.
something else.
Cause I've got
Water
some.
them all, mulching.
Well, they're
irises I
likely
need to
not gonna
plant.
stay alive much longer.
What
under
one's a
my
coneflower
tutelage.
and what's the other one?
I don't
you know?
remember. The other one had like a big
Do
spread.
they
and
need
lots of-
sun?
Almost
or-
looked like a ginkgo. It's not a ginkgo.
Oh,
but it had
that's
that-
the,
those leaves.
Columbine.
Columbine.
Oh, it's
Columbine, is
Columbine.
that shade
Yeah, I
Anywhere,
think
it's
a shade
anywhere.
color.
anywhere?
Most of them are pretty
Columbine
hardy.
I'll grab 'em.
flowers.
I have
It's the
them.
plant.
They're pretty.
I have the-
They have.
And they make
have like the
lots of
spurs
seeds.
that
Yeah,
are on the backside
I
of
was
They
the
make
thinking
flower.
lots
about
of
painting
seeds.
Sunday.
That's okay.
Comes in
Yeah.
extra. Or I'll just leave it up there. for
Yeah, do.
Volunteers are good.
Yeah.
you. Okay, so back to where we were. So are we good on this house? Any further
Yeah, where was it?
comments?
Sorry. I mean, there's no variances or anything. I
No.
mean, that waterway looks like it's a swell from when they might have done it way back for the field to drain it or something.
Good.
Yeah, yeah. It was a 5.9.
I don't see any other
I
issues
don't
with it.
think you wouldn't have to worry if it's a swale, because it's not a waterway, identified waterway, I'm guessing, that's why there's no variances for anything for the septic system.
Right.
And they're
It's
not
just a
cutting into that,
straightforward
Yeah.
plan.
It's
they're not
close
cutting
enough.
into that block of trees.
They are not, they're leaving
So,
that.
Yeah. Yeah, it's not close enough to worry about.
Yeah.
All right, great. All right, so moving on. Next one is
Black
what was
Point.
it? Black Point, yes, number 77. Tear down of existing structure and construction of a new family
They
residence
Do have a landscaping plan.
on a lake. What is it?
And you should put up, should probably pull up the
Oh,
encore photo.
Yep. Do that too. Do you want the site plan as well?
Yeah,
Alright.
maybe it would help us to see where it is and then look at the site plan.
Yeah, this comes off of Coy Road, right?
I think so. It's
Yes.
private road off of Coy. Yeah.
It's very,
It's way down
there
deep.
are 4
down there.
houses, maybe 3 or 4 down there. It's very steep.
Yeah,
Yeah,
except
it
at
is.
the lake, I guess it's
It's
fairly
flat.
level. It's flat at the lake and then the thing goes up, you know,
Oh.
but the house sits on the flat part like at the lake.
Mhm. Is there a lot of shale behind it?
I do not know. It's
Probably
quite
in
possible.
that neck of the woods.
That's
very
pretty.
shallow.
Mhm.
That's what it was in my house. That's what it is at Ononda.
As long
Yeah.
as it's not too shallow.
So it's a tear down and then a new
Yeah.
build.
When I looked it up, there wasn't anything online yet on it really, so. I've not seen much. Again, on the
Encore keeps doing
far
this.
edge of the town.
It makes
Yeah,
it really
It's been difficult this week. I'm not sure what's up with it.
Updating something.
Maybe.
Those pictures are really great though.
Yeah, they are.
They really help a lot.
Well, I
That's
guess we'll
it.
just
So yeah,
do
they're keeping the garage.
Mhm.
They have a boathouse and then a pretty significant dock
Mhm.
system, I guess, if you want to call it that. And they're going on some of the existing footprint.
Are they expanding?
Is there a way to
lot?
do a side by side, like a split screen? Like where you could look at the photo and you could look at the site
Site
plan? Is there a
plan?
way to do that? I wouldn't know how to do it, but
Be able to
You
right
can, like,
click on the tab.
Drag it and like make it fill half the screen.
Yeah. It's just grabbing it.
It's hard to grab it from.
Oh,
Not gonna happen.
for me, I totally lose it. It just would be side by side would be helpful, you know?
Hi. Can you just pull the tab that's on?
There we go. Try. All right.
So you can get them to fill half the screen too. By just dragging it up.
You want the site plan?
I think the site plan and the photo would be helpful.
Okay.
Help us to compare, you know? Very good.
As long as I can drag it.
Yeah.
You don't need to load anymore.
Make this. I guess that's about as good as I can do.
Mhm.
That's pretty good, actually.
So that helps you see what's happening.
Okay.
Okay, all right, thanks.
yeah, I think I just couldn't see.
So
what
the
was going
garage
on
is in
on
place.
my computer. And those are the. steep
Justin's
slopes.
closest. He can tell us what's happening on
Okay,
that.
Justin, what's happening?
What's
Plan.
just
You can
what is it,
describe it.
All that
to
great
us.
stuff is really steep, right? That's the.
Yeah, all
cliff
the,
behind
yeah,
it.
all
That's
those
all,
tight
yes.
contours is
Yeah.
steep, yeah.
I asked also for a. Can you pull up my zoning law determination?
Is this just
Please.
right here? Is that just like a cut up from some drainage running across the driveway? Looks like
This
it,
here?
yeah.
It looks like there's a culvert or
wash or
something. There's a
something.
culvert or something there. I can't tell.
Yeah, no,
sometimes in
yeah, there's a
classes.
12-inch culvert.
With
Yeah.
glasses on right now.
Just a second. I think I forgot to share.
All I can see is black,
It doesn't look like
white,
it's fine.
Mhm.
gray.
Lots of lines.
Mhm.
Just a second.
We could zoom in on it.
I don't know.
1 second. Make sure.
I don't know if
share the
anybody even
screen.
will ever use it.
Where was it before?
It was in the room, the courtroom. That was the one we used for before we got the drop down screens.
All right, what were we looking for?
I
I'm
wanted to,
sorry.
the ZLD
Okay.
because I had questions that I think are relevant to this.
Another window.
No, we'll just put it.
I'm not gonna be able to read it, but
Is not a good
So,
Does that have the flood zone line on it?
yeah, it does. They put it on
That
there.
intrigued me. So the flood zone, so the house is.
They're well within
the flood
it.
zone, right?
I'll make this bigger so you can
Okay.
see.
Especially with how steep it is there.
Yeah, I should
All the
have my
water just gonna fall right
glasses.
down to it.
Which part did you?
Okay, staff, can you read that, Justin, where it says staff cannot determine from
Yeah,
the,
staff cannot determine from the submission the varying, if applicable, gradients in the steep slope protection areas. Please label all steep slope protection areas where their area as moderately, very, or extremely steep. Additionally, please address in narrative form as well on the plans. All regulations in section 240-8 have been addressed.
So is that not addressed in it yet?
no.
And how can we review it?
So so there are different regulations for different slopes. So those, I mean, we could figure out the percent slope and the gradient, but I really feel like that's the
How much-
onus of the applicant.
Yeah, there wasn't a lot moving into that area.
There's
right?
not a ton, but there's
The
a not,
excavation area might get into it.
right, like what is the disturbance? The limit of disturbance for the whole excavation.
Yeah, the other thing I'd be concerned with is when they do go to do the construction and whatever they're doing is just that drainage area, because it looks like it's pretty substantial, the water coming off of that.
Yep.
And just, if you have any kind of soil or anything piled up, just to
Right.
make sure that it's not gonna go right into the lake, basically through a wash.
According to this, it's the 40% and steeper.
So you need like a slope analysis kind of thing? on
Yeah,
it?
which I had asked for in the
This has
zoning
got the little
determination.
tick of this 40% and deeper on the
Mhm.
right here.
Let me
so.
see what I can do.
That would make sense.
Let me
Yeah,
see
looks
who
like
I
you're
can
getting
spur
into
on
the-
to
Looks
do
like that
that.
from the
Yeah.
map.
So like this area right here.
Yeah, that area.
That's got the.
So they
And
say
then-
they're gonna stabilize it with erosion control blankets. That's pretty standard though.
So did you have a recommendation for that?
Oh, so it looks like. So they're doing a riprap swale down here, probably to kind of catch all this coming down. But then does it exit down by the septic area? Yeah, okay.
What variances are they applying for? They must be applying for some variances.
They don't have any variances yet,
No.
but they might once I get that steep slope analysis.
Honestly, I don't think this is ready for us to review yet.
That's fine. You can
I
kick
mean,
it back.
I don't know if anybody else believes that or not, but I don't.
Well,
it
was
feels like-
there anything else in the site plan on the drainage on the backside of the house? Because it's just a lot of water that's gonna be collecting back there.
I did have some comments on the landscaping plan, so we can do that in a second.
Okay.
What-
yeah.
I'm not sure what you want to see,
Yeah. so
and I
that's
can
right
make it
here.
bigger if you need.
Sorry, I didn't look at this before.
Well, I couldn't read this before. When I saw some of this, I just couldn't read it. I couldn't figure out what it even said. I don't have a monitor.
Yeah, so if
That's
we, I
right.
mean, we could bring it back.
I think maybe we should, because this also seems like one that we need to drive down. Is anybody want to definitely go down there and actually do a review of his property?
I was gonna go look at stuff today, but I just ran out of time.
Yeah, me too.
I would love to go down, but I'd love to go down with someone
And another
else.
human.
Another
And I
human,
think
please.
we learned that we can have 2 of us at a time. It's
Yes.
okay.
Mhm.
It's always okay. So how about Megan goes down to somebody who has more experience, want to go with her? We can ask Edith if nobody here has it before that, but would any of you more experienced members of the committee like to arrange that with Megan? So she gets some experience.
Sure.
Yay,
I would be
Gary.
happy to.
Yay!
All right, so you two
Sounds
can
exciting.
connect.
It's our plan,
Um,
and I've not been down there, but I don't think I should.
Oh.
You know,
Yeah.
I think this is one
Conflict
of
of
those I
interest.
should step away from kind of things, but I could, I'll see what I can find out with the steep slope, more explanation on that.
I would say that the landscape plan needs work.
Mhm.
They had, I think there's a fountain grass, which is a New York State invasive species.
Right near the lake.
Yeah, there's some, I would suggest native species for that instead of foreign stuff. There's the, I can bring it up. Because that's something that they could be worked on and brought back too.
Do we have a list of invasive species somewhere in the town code that people see?
I
I
go
have
by
a book
New York
that Justin
State.
gave me.
Yeah, those should be
It
updated.
just
or
feels
put
like,
on
I
there.
mean, that there should literally be like almost like a variance if you want to plant an invasive species or something like that,
So-
you know what I mean?
So this one was,
Yeah.
So
the
you're
dwarf-
saying fountain grass is invasive?
Yep,
Fountain grass.
yep.
Like, I wouldn't
'Cause
know that.
I looked up
Me
the
neither.
I
species.
thought burning bushes were nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's
Those
some
are-
really
those are-
nice.
those are the most
Talk about
comments I
it.
got.
Yeah.
We have them in the front of the town.
I look
hall.
at them and I'm like,
I like 'em
"Oh,
too."
man."
They're so
But-
They're pretty.
Yeah, this one can be,
Which one is that?
the
Japanese.
Curia, I'm not even sure how to say it.
I would say that's fine. That's it.
But that's what I'm saying. I mean, we should have a list or something that people can access to see, hey, is this the one I'm planning to put here on an invasive species?
But there's nice native grasses, there's blue stem and all sorts of other
Yeah.
native grasses that could be used in place.
So I don't think we have any handouts upstairs for that. So maybe at some point I'll reach out and see if we can get some handouts like for
Oh, like you had for the.
just to have up there for people coming in for
Yep.
permitting is just to
Mhm.
have that right there. So they know and are aware. It's a quick reference basically.
So I mean, it's pretty easy to check if anybody wants to ever check these things. You Google the botanical name and just put invasive after it. And you'll figure it out real
Oh, okay.
fast.
Mhm.
So,
You see everything's invasive everywhere.
well,
No.
so this one I found right on a New York State site,
Okay.
and it was the Lower Hudson. They identified it as an invasive species, so it is a New York State invasive.
It should be nice if we had somewhere to send
Yeah.
people to check,
Or maybe like even safe, like plants that they could use that
I
aren't
think-
native but aren't gonna be invasive. Like the hydrangea, I know for
Yeah.
certain isn't gonna do anything, and that's a pretty standard landscaping plant, to be
Mhm.
honest.
Okay, so not quite ready yet. We're looking
Yeah.
for additional landscape information. We're looking for additional steep slope information and
Adding native species to
Adding
their
native species
landscape
to the
plan
list.
would be.
Can you go to the Encore real quick?
Yep.
and these two are gonna go out and review the site.
It's probably better erosion
Yeah.
treatment.
I'll probably
for
try and
that
get out there
area.
too.
Some
So,
of this, I don't think it's construction, but this looks like wash.
and we need information on what variances they're gonna have.
So,
You know,
like,
obviously, there's gonna be a variance from
Yeah, I don't know when we go out
the
there.
lake, I think.
There might
If there's any
be,
washers,
there
I mean, that's
won't
probably
be
why
for front
the-
setback for
the area's
traditional
being
zoning because
built
of
up
where
basically to
the
take the water
house
out
is.
there.
If you
But
visit
there
it, you'll
might
know.
be
Yeah.
for,
I feel like they could do
You
more
have to be
planting in
so
those
far
areas
from
to
a
try and
steep slope.
protect it
Yeah.
from erosion too. Like,
when
just
you're
having
on
a
the
root
lake.
bed
think that
there.
those
So
structures
that's
have
why
been
I
there
need the
forever,
analysis from
since
And I don't know what that
Yeah.
affects
Long
with the
time.
existing structures.
Yeah, I think there's drywall.
They
So there-
are, but
we need
there's-
more
There's could still be something that
I'm
happens.
sure, I'm sure.
Okay.
Building in the flood zone is not. it's not-
Ideal.
not ideal,
Let's call
but
it not
not-
ideal.
well,
not
the
a
whole
problem.
lake is a flood zone. That's why they have to be at 600 and 93?
92? Is it
Yeah,
692?
692.
Yeah, it doesn't, I mean, the nice thing is it doesn't look like it's not increasing too much in size, basically.
It's not.
No, that's good.
Yeah,
That's positive.
and then not having to tear down the garage and stuff, that's also a positive. They're gonna work with what's there.
Yeah.
I didn't see any views from the lake, any renderings.
That's
No,
good,
they did
too.
not submit, and I asked them also for a view shed analysis, and I do think we have some elevations.
Okay, I guess I just
I think we do, but nothing for scenic view shed compliance.
Yeah, the site plan had the existing structure and the proposed, whatever that, those initials
No,
there.
but you're
the
looking for the
acronym.
shoreline letter. Architect was supposed to be working on that.
Who's doing that?
Mark
Who's the
Muller.
architect? Oh, Mark Muller's the architect.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. So let's move into the world of old business then. And let Fort Kimberly close the 75. The town newsletter, so we had our event, which we're going to talk about a little later here. Can Kimberly or one of us should send Eric a reminder that he's doing the November newsletter, unless he already, did he already submit
No,
it?
November's already
That's
done.
done.
Okay, do we know if he submitted it or not?
He sent one to me and I forwarded it to
Okay,
Sarah.
okay, perfect.
So,
I think Sarah's also putting pictures from the fair, and I sent her like 13 pictures.
I sent her some
Sweet.
pictures too.
Yeah.
So. Justin, are you good with?
Yeah, it'll be something along that line. I
Christmas
think
tree
either just the Christmas tree recycling or other things you can do with those. I need to research a little bit to see if it's okay to like put them in the pond for like fish habitat or it's frowned upon. I don't know.
Does it depend on the tree too?
Yeah, I mean, that was like what you'd always do. So you have your fishing holes, you throw some pine trees in there from the different Christmases and they'll congregate there.
Yeah, the artificial trees is not a good.
Yeah,
thing.
not a good
Well,
idea.
no, I know certain pines do better up here than others.
Yeah.
They're probably laced with pafolas and
Is
stuff.
it
so-
goats that like Christmas trees?
Goats, I think you didn't think.
Yeah.
And goats
They will
love
eat
everything.
Christmas trees?
Yeah.
Really?
They
What
eat
don't they
tires.
Eat-
They
Yeah.
eat everything.
My dog will try to eat everything too, so.
That's why
They
one
usually
of
miss a couple lower
the things on the
branches.
solar panels, putting the goats underneath them, I'm like, that doesn't sound like a good
No.
idea.
They will try.
I
No,
think the
goats
would
didn't
eat that.
work because they'd like get up
Oh,
on
would
it.
they like,
Yeah.
and destroy
Well,
them?
then-
That's
trot all
that's
over
what they
them.
said.
Yeah.
And then they
Anyway.
would like damage the panels.
Yeah.
How
Like
about
white
they try and
corner.
rub their horns
Doesn't
on
sound like a
it?
good idea. All right, cool. And then I think that's due, that'll be due in like what, 3 weeks probably, that article for December.
Yeah, Thanksgiving-ish time.
Gosh.
Yeah.
And then you've got the
Already.
boats
In no
after that.
time.
Yeah.
We can put a geothermal one in for March,
Ooh,
maybe.
Yeah,
Yeah.
That's a good idea.
Sounds good.
Anybody know a lot about geothermal? Want to
Oh.
write that?
Eric needs.
Oh,
Oh, he wants to come in.
Huh,
You're gonna.
it's in a court, they should have the door open.
Yeah, why isn't the door open?
Yeah.
Well,
unless
after a
they're-
certain
They
time.
lock it sometimes.
If they're in the courtroom, yeah, if they go in.
Remember that time we had to come in through the like lunchroom door?
Yeah. Why was that? I don't even know.
Yeah, it's the front door was locked.
Yeah.
dude, there's like 60 people outside trying to get them in the court.
Oh, no.
And there's usually a
I'll be
long
back.
line around the building.
It's just the girl with the key, so.
I'm so sorry.
I keep her out of the keys.
The court must go on forever.
It goes on for hours.
I would hate to be a judge.
Is everyone been good and getting ready for voting and
Howdy.
everything?
Yes. Hi.
So got the tag on. That's good.
I'm a tourist. I've learned never go through the back roads in Waterloo to Canandaigua during the north spreading season.
Oh, is that what took you so long?
It's in the clothes.
Yeah, the
very
smell just stopped in
earthy.
its tracks.
Okay.
Well, I can't smell you from over here, so you're.
I
good
think
in
you're
that.
fine.
You will
You're
smell it
not
in your
giving
car
off
when
an
you get back
aroma.
out there. I've had that happen
Yeah,
when I'm in Yates County.
that's a good smell.
It is a good smell. We had somebody call and complain about that last week.
Oh, gee.
What, the
Living
newer-
near a farm?
They live on Risser Road.
The liquid
I
stuff
don't think
is
it's
pretty
what, because they
nasty.
smell like
It is.
Purdy Farm. I'm trying to figure out who they.
People are weird.
Do you understand what this could do to my property values? Like,
They
is this
should
for
know
real?
that.
I didn't say that, but honestly. When you
They
move in,
moved there
I know you're in an ag district.
and their farm was there long before you moved in.
I can't even hang my clothes outside.
You're not gonna be
Sorry.
able to hang them outside for much longer anyway, unless you want them to freeze.
We get a lot of interesting calls at town hall. Wow.
Call you for things like that.
They call for,
Everything.
I mean,
Oh,
I
yeah.
deal with some interesting people.
I bet you do too.
We're talking about the newsletter.
All right, so we have geothermal for March. Probably good for now,
Probably
right?
for now, and then-
We just mentioned that you had an article. You wanted to talk about that at all?
Probably, it's already so long.
How long did you make it?
I don't know. There's some pages, but I kind of get into it.
I thought you were gonna say something like 20 pages on there.
No, probably 6, 7, 8.
Oh, okay, so that's a decent.
So,
article.
and Kimberly, thanks for proofreading it. Where-
Has it been published? Is it available for reading?
Not
Is
yet.
it on the
No,
website?
not yet.
I don't
It'll
know.
come out.
Okay.
Yeah, because it's
It's only the 3rd, so
Yeah.
shortly,
Yeah,
anytime now,
Sarah's
right?
work. She's probably wrapping it up.
Doesn't she usually send it on like a Friday or something?
Did you do it on like climate change in the area here or more
Yeah.
general?
The Finger Lakes
Okay.
region, really Western Finger Lakes region.
Yeah. How bad are we screwed?
We're screwed. We all know
On a
this.
scale of 1 to 10.
That would be a good title for the article.
It depends on
We are-
how far you want to bury your head in this.
We are totally,
Say the word.
I bet we get a lot of hits on that article.
Yeah.
we're in a lot better shape than most of the country.
Actually, yeah. We
Yes.
have water at least.
Yeah,
Yeah.
water.
One of the-
My dad is convinced it's gonna be a boon for us.
For agriculture or tourism or.
Like balmy tourist area.
Well, it could be real estate prices. The next 50 years, where a lot of demographers are predicting a surge of climate migrants.
Yes.
I mean, what
Florida.
you
Or
don't
climate
see them.
refugees.
Well, exactly.
Oh,
What you
yeah.
don't hear about south of the border is that a large number of the people from Central and South America are at our border. Okay, there's drugs, there's crime, there's crushing poverty, but there's also years and years of drought. And, you know, US subsidized corn has already destroyed the economies of some of these Central American nations, unfortunately. And on that years of drought, they're here. And that's not making the news, you know, and
Well,
it
also
should
all
be.
the freshwater rivers that travel through the United States down towards like Mexico and South America and stuff. We get the water first, so a lot of it's salinated by the time that it gets down to them.
That's right, full of heavy metals and
Yeah,
what
because they've already irrigated with it.
what little reaches them, yeah. So it's,
I know I couldn't find it. I just went all over the place looking for where they were. I'm like,
There,
"Where's the
were they in
police
that little room?
Yeah.
Mm.
And he's like, yeah, we're leaving well outside. We're eating dinner." I'm like, well, it's 70 degrees out, but you literally have
It's getting dark
a
too.
6-month-old and a 2-year-old being held by their parents in the parking lot right now. That does not make a heck of a lot of sense. Anyway, they're all in here now. Sorry, everyone. I apologize. And
okay.
thank you, Eric, for knowing about the extra special window.
I was gonna press my face up against it, you know, make goofy eyes, but I
We should
thought.
put, we should put a note there that's like, PCB might let you in if you knock nicely.
Gotta pop the screen out. You could have came in the window.
We gotta figure that out though, because like the whole history team was out there. I think it was, was that tree team or history team?
History team.
Oh, were they outside?
They're sitting at the table out there. And I'm like, what is going on?
Oh.
Who
Anyway,
was their staff person? Leaf? To let him in?
That would,
he
Yeah.
wasn't with them,
Hmm.
but I'm just like, okay. Anyway, all right. So what did you guys talk about while I was running around town hall and getting my
Eric's
steps in?
article.
We are
It's in
totally,
blue, isn't it?
That's his
Awesome.
headline
Yeah. Okay.
Got you ready.
for
guys.
climate change.
Very exciting. Okay, so the tree display case
You
already
like it, Catchy.
changed. I forget what it was. Do you remember, Shannon? Just change it to
So if
something.
you want to put
Oh,
down-
did it change?
Yeah.
I thought it was still
I
the
thought it was still the,
event.
yeah, our
It's
fair.
different.
I
I was
didn't
just
see
going
it.
to check it out and then Jared came.
I go by it 15 times a
I feel like
day.
it changed. Maybe I'm crazy.
I
Anyway,
know.
I'm
That's
sure
why
she's
like,
doing
I have-
something. All right, so to the event wrap up, because we have a million other things here hanging out. Thank you all for coming to that. I think that came off pretty well. I was fairly happy. I would estimate we had about 75 people show up through the course of it. Don't you think, maybe?
Yes,
I
we
think
do.
so.
I mean, we definitely had some good groups in there. We gave away some stuff, still waiting for a couple, most of your plant people came in, but like I said earlier, we still have the 2 plants upstairs.
It's okay that today they're gonna be gone.
Yep, and then we have most of the, we still have most of the, interestingly, the compost bins. It's just your
But
sisters
she was
and your
so
dad's.
excited. I
that
gave it to
have
her
it
last
now.
night.
The other people haven't picked it up yet, so even though they called me and were like, oh my gosh, thank you, so I don't. we'll see
Maybe
what
need to
happens.
remind them again.
Well, I'll send another reminder out to them again, or I'll call them because they only left their phone numbers. That's the other thing, for some reason, it just said phone on it, so we only
Yeah.
had phone
Wow.
numbers, not emails, so this was kind of the purpose of the thing. I get people's emails, but it's okay, but the other question about the compost bins, by the way, so the clerks were just asking me about the tabletop compost bins, so we apparently still have 10 of them that they have, which we were giving away for free. They were wondering if we wanted to, there's nobody really managing the compost bin program right now, and there really needs to be a staffer doing it. It's not really something that I could do, because I'm just kind of floating in and out and not here on a consistent basis. So what might make sense, they're always going to have the compost bags available, the bio bags available, but what might make sense is that we just put out a note in a couple months. It says, hey, you know, these compost bins are available, there's 10 left or whatever is
Yeah.
left, and first come, first serve, and you know.
2 weeks a month.
Mhm. Which we can always reevaluate that in a future year and reacquire them if we want to, but when I was trying to get them for the fair, they were pretty much out of stock most places.
Okay.
Anybody else want to talk about some things? There were some that happened at the fair? Or
I think
any follow-ups?
lesson learned is basically when transfer station closes.
Wrap it up.
Yeah, it's done.
Yeah, I think we probably want to do like a
Maybe earlier in the morning.
8:30 to 12:30 or something like that, maybe
Yeah.
something. Or just 8 to 12 if we want to,
Mm-hmm.
but I think that was good. We definitely pulled some people that were just, and I had people randomly see me in the community later that were like, what was that? And I was like, I was literally holding a sign as we went past and
We
said,
need a banner.
yes, we need we need better
Something
signage
big.
for
big
sure,
print
so.
or Something.
I think we should make it bigger next year and open up both sides of the garage.
Oh, that might catch more people's eyes because they might not.
It might, the only issue with that is where do they park if they come in from the other side? And
But meaning they could see it.
See it.
Yeah,
and
we
the
could
other
not
two
park
sign-
there, but
Big arrows.
yeah,
Well,
like go around.
I think we definitely need a banner over there, but the other reason we didn't open over there is we weren't sure. I mean, obviously you would never know it from this weather, but we weren't sure if they'd be salting at that
Right.
point. Because I mean, I know I'm wearing shorts right now, but oftentimes they are salting right now. And
Yeah.
they're
It's true.
salting that time too. But I think seasonally that worked out well for a time.
Mhm.
But I'd like to, we should engage with like the, I think with the ag committee in particular,
Mhm.
and try and get, initially we were talking about trying to engage with some more farming community members and see if there's some topic areas that might be interesting to them as well too, so.
I would love to see one of the big trucks open for the little kids to sit in.
Yeah.
And I think that would help draw some families.
I love
Okay.
that idea.
I also would love to work with Petra
Yes,
some
my
more.
son will try to start it.
The seeds.
Yes, though definitely a bigger budget for seeds because I didn't realize how small some of them were. I should have thought about that, but even like the few hundred that we had was not
That
as much
wasn't
as
enough.
not as much as I thought it was, definitely.
I tossed them next to my yard. I'll let you know what happens.
Yeah, I'm hoping, I mean, you'll have to tell me next year though.
Petra and Fruition White Oak Nursery and Amanda's Native Nursery, they all said to contact them for next year. So if we contact them earlier, they probably can do.
I would throw out Meadowview too, just for, I mean, I know they'll do like more stuff for plantings.
Well, I think one of our biggest things we need to do is figure out better ways to promote and advertise it more, so we can get more in there, so.
I think if we have more people lined up in advance, I think it would help
They
the
can
advertising,
Yeah.
because they can let their people, you know, their little communities know. We can let people know, it's like, hey, Petra's coming, she's gonna do
our
X.
seed magic.
Yeah, she'll do her seed magic and you know, because Petra has her own like people she's influencing and stuff too. So
We could probably spend a little money from the ECB on a Facebook ad or some social media ads as well.
Yeah.
They're very affordable usually, so.
Is it close enough to Halloween to actually have like a pumpkin carving contest or a professional pumpkin carver?
We could
Kids
dress up in
love that
costume.
Kids love that.
That would
You
probably-
could.
that would
Okay,
actually,
I could dress up.
for
I scared
composting,
the
that'd be a
kids
great
enough as it
opportunity.
was.
Yeah, I mean, that's not a bad idea if we're keeping that same weekend. We can't do that weekend, you know, right before Halloween, because that's always gonna be the Halloween at Ononda thing.
Okay.
So let's see, when is it next year? Because you know how sometimes things time out oddly, the weekends. Hang on, I'm getting there. Okay, so next year. Oh, it's basically the same thing. So the 29th will be, the 28th will be the Sunday before, or the Saturday before, and then 21st will be the Saturday before that. So we'll probably be in the, everybody mark your calendars.
10/21.
October 21st, 2023
Come on.
is our next ECB
Yikes.
fair, and I'm gonna call it probably 8:30 to noon.
Yeah.
So don't plan your vacation then. This came first. Anyway, so that's, yeah. I think, do we like the name? Should we keep calling it an environmental fair?
I think so.
I don't have a better name.
Yeah, no, I mean, if we get more of the other boards and stuff on there, maybe then we can tweak it, but
Mhm.
just as a catch-all, I think.
Eco Palooza.
There you go.
Oh, that's cool. We should get a band.
See,
You can
if you call it Eco-Palooza, all those old Republicans are never coming to your events. That's an old Republican myself. I would be a little terrified by an Eco-Palooza.
We're gonna have bands and candy and-
Live band.
Cannabis. We could-
Goats.
No, we're not going
Just
there.
kidding. I just sat through that cannabis training, so it's on my brain. Yeah.
It is on your brain. Okay, good to know.
Or is it?
This is
Is it like free handouts or something?
No. It's just about the rollout and then what's gonna happen. That's all.
All the rules and
Okay,
regs, but-
so
Yeah.
are we, any other comments or things that I mean, let's put a specific time, we have to get like a timeline, I think, for our planning purposes. And I think we all need to do a better job with budgeting now that we have an idea what we've got to work with for next year. And I believe ECB's got the same budget for next year that it
You
had this
do.
year,
Mhm.
which reminds me, I did ask, and I don't know if everybody's put in all of their, if everyone's put in all of their things that need reimbursement at this point, but right now the ECB budget line's at just over $600, $650. We've got 653 right now. So,
That's without,
well, no, we were 900 something.
oh, so is that with all of
that
my
might be with,
submissions too?
probably.
Okay.
I put my, what did you put them in?
Mhm.
Yeah, and I put mine in, so
Okay.
I'm not sure if it is or isn't, but I think no matter what, we're gonna have a little bit of extra cash in there, because remember I was 950 last month. when I
Yes, you
came
were
out.
when we talked about
Mhm.
it. You're right.
So
that
I
makes
think,
sense.
I think we might actually have about 650 left, and if we do, I would propose that we buy a couple trees.
Mhm.
And I think we should we should send something out to tree committee, parks team, and cemetery team and ask them, you know, where do we need couple nice specimen trees? Because we should probably, if we can get our parks committee or our parks group to plant them, we should be able to probably get 2 decent trees, I would think.
Would
that
we
are
also-
should,
nice
with that kind of
specimens.
money.
Would we also be able to, I guess if, as another option, I mean, it's money that if we don't spend, it goes into the, I guess, the general fund or the whatever. I mean, is that something where we could give certificates for next year to kind of fund some of the, if we need to buy additional flowers or trees for, if the environmental fair is going to be an ongoing thing yearly?
We can't roll it over
Okay,
unless we've allocated, if we have a purchase order now this year.
Okay.
That's the only way we could, or a contract. That's the only way we can roll it over.
If we need something though, if there's something really specific that we want, you can always ask for something to be funded as part of a program.
Yes.
So you can always approach the town board and say, hey, we're expanding the environmental fair. We would like to have, you know, an additional $700 for X, Y, and Z, you know, or whatever it may be. So that is always an option. And
The $20,000 for the live bands at the Ecopalooza.
Ecopalooza and
Not having
t-shirts.
Ecopalooza.
T-shirts, yes.
Exactly.
That's exactly what we need to spend ECB money on. Ecopalooza t-shirts.
That are biodegradable.
Biodegradable, absolutely.
You can plant them.
100% cotton.
Great idea.
They're embedded with seeds. so you
All
can
right,
throw
all
that
right,
in
all
the
right, all right. So is everybody okay with me reaching out to those 3 committees and asking about trees?
Yes.
Does anybody here, and we can ask Edith as well, does anybody have any particular tree types that would be beneficial to the town that they would like to
I love
recommend? Or
sycamores.
does it matter where we put
I
them?
think it matters where you put it.
Yeah.
I
Edith
will
will know.
say,
Yeah.
Leaf had mentioned that Sandhill Cemetery used to have beautiful Victorian plantings and they could use a nice specimen tree there because it's been basically just a cemetery now. So
Probably
that's
some
one
nice
that he
oaks
brought
up
up.
there
So.
then.
Yeah, oak would be one of my first choices.
Mhm.
They're great for wildlife.
But I think sycamore would be great too if we're
Yeah.
doing it in areas where the ash got decimated.
Mhm.
That's a good option.
Or any
for
wet,
those areas.
wetter
Yeah.
areas.
trees
They
on
love
Charlotte?
moisture.
Are not sycamores.
Yes.
They got
That
those
go down by
beautiful white
Summer.
branches.
Oh, yeah.
They
Those
look
are
sycamores.
sycamores.
Yeah, those are.
Charlotte or Charlotte Street.
Yeah.
London,
They're a special
London
kind of
flame.
sycamores.
Yeah.
They're the best.
Oh, that's a
little
beautiful-
I was, they're
road in
amazing.
town.
It is.
You'd be surprised how many people call Sonnenberg asking
I
about that.
bet.
My mother, actually, the city was going to tear them down when they were redoing the street. And my mother was one of the people who came and protested at the city and said they thought they were sick because the bark was peeling.
No,
grow too fast.
Oh, wow.
that is literally what they do.
That is what they do.
So anyway, she was one of the original, tree huggers.
Did she chain herself to a tree?
Pretty close. Which is how I became a Republican tree hugger. Anyway, it's my mom and my dad all together right there. Anyway, so all right, so we're good on that. We'll explore about the trees. Okay, now next we've got, I wanted to draw everyone's attention to, and I have a couple extra copies if anybody had one that they wanted to see. There's a bunch of things that are floating around in ordinance committee and various other committees that, I mean, we don't need to discuss or come up with recommendations or anything right now. I just wanted people to be aware that they were in discussion and existing, and you might want to either pop into an ordinance committee or a town board committee if you have any specific interest in the subject areas. The first one is the incentive zoning. Essentially, incentive zoning is where you can, I don't know, you want to summarize it better than I can.
Sure, it's almost like give and take. The town would like something, the developer wants something. It's like almost symbiotic kind of relationship. The developer might get leniency with setbacks, coverage, in return for $100,000 for our parks, or I mean that's just a simple example.
Chester Glen had one, for example, where that was why we got the switchback tail because of incentive zoning.
Right. So it has to be it can't just be some random ask. It has to be based on the goals of the town and the comp plan and that kind of thing. But the change really is to allow incentive zoning in anywhere, any district, because it's currently limited. But now it could really go you could have it in any any zoning district in the town of Canandaigua per the suggested changes.
That's the first one.
That's the first
and that's the
I have a
long one.
question.
Sure.
So if someone comes with, I don't know, some plan, say they wanna, I don't know, put a restaurant in the RLD or something.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah, that's actually something.
Yes, that is
we've-
something that's been
mhm,
discussed, yes.
mhm.
And so do they just work with the town board on that, or do like the other boards have feedback when that would actually happen?
I don't know how much feedback the other boards would have.
Okay,
That's
so
a
it's
good
it's
question.
it's pretty much just a town board thing.
I think
I
it's-
would say, as a town board member, though, that I would not want to be making any of those decisions without asking the other boards for their feedback and their, I mean, I'm not sure I can speak for the whole town board when I say that, but I'm pretty sure that most of the town board is not gonna just be like, yeah, that sounds great to me and move ahead. They're gonna want to hear from the boards about what's in, the implications. But yeah, I don't think it's particular, I think that's town board's purview pretty much, the incentive
Okay.
zoning, so.
Because that's kind of, I'm like, if you agree with the town board all the time, it's a good thing, but if you're not, it may not be such a good thing.
Yep. Well, and that's how it is for all of our boards, right? I
Yeah.
mean, there's all the boards have different powers and it's you're trusting that they're, you know, that they are making the right decisions. The only difference is the town board's the only one you get to elect, right? And pick directly if those people are representing the views of the majority of the town, so.
I mean, they do have the statement that the town board at its discretion may waive any of the above listed submission requirements. So, you know, they list these different types of amenities that the people are, you know, offering up in exchange for the, you know, the incentive, but.
Well, and one of them is just money, I think, actually. so.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's.
Pay your way to get money, I was like,
That's
that's a little weird. Okay.
right, yeah, so, I want to squeeze another 4 homes.
You got it.
Yeah, you want 4 more houses? So that'll be $3 million, you know? It's a little weird.
So basically you have that little clause in there that you can do away with it.
Right.
Yeah. Farmington does this a
Mm.
lot,
Seriously, yeah.
a lot. Yeah.
And how does it work for them?
Very well.
No comment.
I was gonna say, it probably depends who you are.
Yeah.
Farmington is a very high growth area.
Yeah,
Let's not say
Farmington
that.
is growing in leaps and bounds.
Moving on.
So would this work in conjunction like with on the other side of the lake when they're gonna do that development where those are the areas that were zoned for, I guess, higher development stuff, or this would be kind of separate?
It's kind
from-
of, it's separate from the MUO.
Okay.
I'm not sure if anyone, and that's almost like double dipping for the MUO and incentive zoning. I'm not sure we would even entertain that. I can't
Well, is
answer
it
that.
listed? In that's listing the.
That you can't go in,
Cause I could see you could really take advantage of that.
right.
That's a good question, actually, about the
Mhm.
MUOs. Oh, mixed use, yeah.
Okay.
No, mixed use is already in it before. See that paragraph, County of Connecticut has grown since incentive zoning was last issued, now includes zoning districts like blah, 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 form-based post mixed use and other zones not listed. As applicable, this allows them to enable the town, but yeah, so.
But the mixed use is, yeah, I
It's not
would say
listed
is more restrictive. For instance, like mixed use, you
Mhm.
can only, like mixed use overlay, each parcel can only have a single use, which is kind of contradictory to what it says. So,
That's a good question, though. I think we should nail that down more. Okay.
And I guess I gotta look through more about like issues with like when we do the conservation easements or they, they're donating it. I mean, we don't wanna have incentives too for doing other things within those.
within the designated easement areas, yeah,
Mhm.
absolutely. I think that, well, I know that once, when is this going before? Is it this
I
month?
think it is.
It would be helpful. I know there's not a
Or
lot of
no, it
time,
may still be going back to ordinance. I'm not positive.
right? And what I'm thinking timing wise, to have this board just make some comments, questions for the town board. I think that would be helpful.
Can we email look at it a little more and
Yeah.
deadline and.
Yeah, yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Well, and we can email to the whole ordinance committee and the town board if you want.
But if you want to summarize it, we can send stuff to you.
Okay.
Okay.
For both. The scenic view shed overlay is there's actually,
we
it's a
haven't talked
good
about that, sorry.
change. In that there was no reference to the underlying zoning district. So because we have 1 acre lot minimums in the scenic view shed. For the 3 acre lot minimums and the 2 acre lot minimum areas, AR1, RR3, those still stand. So you can't get a reduction in the lot size is really, so the underlying district must be met before. It's just a clarification. for
Most
people who-
restrictive land.
Yes, it's always the most restrictive, yeah. Yep, so.
And I don't know why, but the solar reg change thing did not print out for me, so hopefully one of you guys have that, but that's kind of the biggest change with the ordinance committee right now.
And that one isn't in,
It's not ready yet.
it's not ready to go
I just wanted
anywhere, but
everybody to be
yes.
aware that we're kind of chatting about it. So ordinance has been talking about some pretty major changes to solar regulations, which I'm usually pretty much in agreement with. One of them is it's disallowing solar battery installations, which are the big, huge, like, you know, mobile home size batteries in the town. But the biggest change, which gotta make sure we have ag weigh in on that. The biggest change is the zoning map and where they would be allowed. There's different levels of solars, of solar farms. And basically is it a
There's,
level 2 that's the 8
Yes.
acres?
yes,
And level 3 is above 8
yes,
acres?
yes,
So that's the big change is basically it's differentiating between things that are smaller than 8 acres and things that are larger than 8 acres pretty dramatically. The larger than 8 acre solar installations would essentially not be allowed in the town without a special permit, I believe.
that's where we're still,
Yeah,
right,
that's what we're
that's
discussing.
this, yeah,
But that's what's
this-
up for
yes.
consideration.
Yep.
So right now, I mean, other than, it was still allowed in industrial zone.
Industrial and
zone.
commercial,
Yeah.
yep,
So industrial and commercial could still have large scale solar installations,
which are 30 acres,
but the other zones, which is basically
the rest of
the
town.
rest of the town, which if you look at this map, it's basically adding this area and this area and this area. And they were never, I think, really.
They were
allowed,
not.
but it's adding this and this and this into the areas where you're not going to be
You can have
allowed
large
to build anything over 8 acres.
Tier,
Two.
tier,
3 and
Well,
up.
tier, yeah, 3 is 8, is below 8, tier 3 would be,
Whatever it is, it's 8 acres.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
anything that's larger than 8 acres wouldn't be
Wouldn't be
essentially
allowed.
allowed anywhere.
right, and that's
except for
tier
the
3.
Industrial.
wow.
So that's one of the things that they're discussing.
Yeah, I would think the ag committee would.
Yes, we
Wanna
need
weigh
them to
in on
weigh in
that.
on that.
Who approves the special land use permits?
The planning board, with the recommendation from ag first.
Okay. And
Yeah.
then is there anything in there regarding like if multiple property owners sign on for one development, if it goes over multiple parcels that are still under the 8.5, but could be combined into larger stuff?
Another good question.
That's a good
Oh.
question. I didn't think about
Yeah.
that.
Mhm.
I don't know the feasibility of it, but that might be a little something to consider.
So contiguous,
Yes.
So the policy is it's a little confusing. They talk about small scale and large scale. So these tiers are just within the large scale. The small scale is.
no, the
Residential.
tiers are in both, and we're changing that. It is a little bit
It is
confusing,
confusing.
yeah, so that we're changing it. So it's more clear, that's just the tiers, like
Yeah.
tier 1 would be rooftop,
And that's still allowed.
and that's allowed, and then a small installation in
But
your
they talk
yard,
about a 1,000 square foot
yes.
cutoff. And I have solar. I got 32 panels. It's small relatively, and it's like 800 square feet that it covers. So
Mhm.
you could easily go over that. And once you go over that, you need a special use permit and all this other stuff, which I don't think, so that it seems a little restrictive.
It's why I'm bringing it up here, because honestly, we need people that have a better knowledge base of this to show up at ordinance and talk about this, I think. I mean, because ordinance is essentially where this is being discussed, and it's gonna get finished, so to speak, in ordinance and then sent up the line to town board. So, and I am not seeing what our next ordinance is. Do you
Yeah,
know?
I was just.
Monday.
Is it on Monday?
Is it?
It's
The
not
seventh?
How did that
Oh,
happen
yeah.
again?
What do you want on the agenda?
Is it on 9? Is it at 9?
I have to, it will be, I have to talk to John
See-
about it.
I forgot to ask.
I don't think the town is
Oh, it's this
alone. This
Monday.
is discussions everywhere in the country right now. just-
Yes.
Yeah. Well, I
Narrowing
think
this
right
down.
now,
Yeah.
we're, I don't want to say anti-solar, but we are wanting to restrict large solar farms in the town. I think that's the general mood. And it's, you know, obviously, it's a very important issue for large landowners and agricultural owners. And that's who we need to be hearing from too on that. So I don't want this to come up, pass in the town board and have nobody know what's happening until it's already happened. So I want people to be agreeing that it's the right path forward. The other thing that's floating around in it too, which I do agree with very strongly, is that it's disallowing any solar building in the scenic view shed overlay. So that's something that's in there for sure. So if you're in that, where's our little scenic map? This map over
Purple.
here.
The purple.
The purple up at the top.
That's
Other
wind
model
turbines.
has roof panels.
No,
Wind
that's allowed
turbines.
everywhere.
Oh,
This is
okay.
Any of the,
You
yeah.
can go to town with a.
No, the small
No pun
scale
intended.
residential ones are allowed everywhere. It's just the large, you know, building a big old, there is already one in that scenic view shed overlay, so.
Oh, the Monks Road.
Monks Road.
Is it over? What is it, 10?
It's
10 acres?
about 10.
It's 11.
11.
Is it?
Yeah.
'Cause that was like, and all the stuff you go to, that was usually the cutoff for the people that. were
Yeah, you can
developing that.
email me.
Yeah.
I'll give you my number if you want.
Okay.
I think we figured they're all about 9 or 10. The current.
Yeah,
Here, I
that's
can-
the
I can
largest
rip
one
off
on
a
Monks
piece
Road in
here.
town. I can show you
County
what
Road
it looks
10
like.
is
if you'd like to know what it looks
like
like.
9
Here
acres.
it is. From, and this is from my friend's deck, so it looks like that. It's definitely in the scenic view shed overlay, if I do say so myself. So, yeah.
Great.
Question.
All right, thank you.
So I have a question.
Mm.
Could there be a little different part of the law if nice.
Yeah, it's pretty.
For people that actually have active farms within, so they're residents here as opposed to people that are like
Oh, I don't, out of towners.
Yeah, I
Not
think
sure
just
we could do
owning
that.
land.
You gotta do it based on the
Yeah.
property.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do it
I
based-
didn't
I
think, but I thought it-
understand the sentiment for
Yes,
sure.
it would be nice if we could do that for other things too, but
Yeah.
yeah.
That's the one on Monks Road.
I
I
think it's
know.
good to revisit, I mean, just because some of the
Probably
recent
close.
projects were
Close, that
like,
makes
you're gonna
sense.
destroy all this area to put up solar, it didn't make much sense.
We have to water.
Not too bad.
But there's some trees right there.
You were talking about that tower going up in that
Yeah.
area too,
Yeah, that one just,
in that, well, that was on
I
Monks
saw
Road
the
too.
file for that,
Yeah.
yeah,
Mhm.
I didn't know about that.
Did it go up?
No,
Mm-mm.
no,
So anyway, we don't have to fix it or solve it or anything here. I just want to make sure everybody's aware of it. Please, if you're available, come to the ordinance committee meeting or send us notes or
Yeah.
anything. And
the ag has a meeting next week.
Yeah.
Their agenda's not set yet, so.
So I want to talk a little bit about solar and ag committee. We've had 2 sketch plans come in for solar that the ag committee recommended denial and that they're prime farmland.
Mhm.
The what is the name of that solar company? Whatever solar
Aura?
company, or not Aura,
No.
whatever their name is.
Distributed?
Distributed Sun came in and presented to the ag committee, was it last month? Yeah. About, they brought in a sheep farmer who brings sheep from site to site to site. And they
don't climb on the
farm.
solar.
They don't eat the solar, they eat the grass. They don't, they,
I mean, sheep are better than goats.
Oh, he was very, very energetic and
he's
shared
very
lots-
passionate
very
about,
passionate.
they bring their flocks,
Yeah.
well, mini flocks are not that big. And then there's this whole apiary beekeeping
Oh, I saw that.
element too.
You can do
So-
flightless birds too.
Like penguins.
So they're talking, so it's just like intercropping basically, because that is another thing. You can also, I mean, another thing they do for the larger ones, but they will increase the spacing and elevation of the panels. So tractors and whatnot are
Yeah.
able to go through there and have farming lanes more or less. So
This,
they're able to
this isn't exactly
double
that.
crop.
This
Right,
is the
it's more-
sheep or these other things are
They're just
Under
a
the panel.
great
controlling
Under
the
the-
vegetation.
Yeah, it's basically live landscape. I mean, they're keeping
But
the weeds
who-
down.
When you're purchasing goat meat or sheep meat or whatever, lamb or whatever it is, who's going to want the lamb that was raised underneath
You will never know.
cells?
You're not gonna know where it was.
It could also
It
be
just-
for wool.
Nope, this
Oh,
guy
this
was
is
meat.
specifically
This is
meat.
meat. Right, isn't there a lamb shortage? There's
Yes,
a
there
meat
is.
shortage.
Lamb.
Okay.
We purchase
Sheep
most-
in
a lot of our
general, he
lamb
said all the sheep in the
imported
United States
Oh,
could
okay.
be
into our country.
moved to New York State and done in New York State. So that's how few there is in the
Yeah,
United
I mean, they do
States.
it with goats. They travel and clear out areas instead of mowing in like
Mhm.
nasty areas with invasives, so.
But goats will jump up on the arrays.
But sheep won't.
Yeah, cows will rub on it. They'll break the arrays.
Oh,
So
yeah,
you
cows
can't
do
do cow or.
Pigs will
or-
destroy everything and make it a my bad.
So they've asked
Pigs could be
to,
different.
they came back to me and said, can I go to the ag board and have the ag board reconsider our proposal and now call it not a loss of prime ag land?
No.
I said, no, because you had a sketch plan, they had a determination. If you want to come back with a special use permit or another sketch plan, we'll go back through the whole process.
Well,
So-
also goats and apiaries are not utilizing prime soils. They don't care what the soil, excuse me, sheep and the apiaries are not utilizing the soil, so.
So they actually plant specific
Yeah, they do, they plant
grass and
Okay.
blooming plants and stuff
the
like
special
that.
bee, you know, the
Yeah, they have
Is it supposed to
pollinators.
re-nitrogen the soil or something, or
What's
Yeah.
that?
is it supposed to put nitrogen back in the soil and other stuff?
Yes.
Depends on the
I would think
Maybe.
for the sheep, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's a good question for the town to be asking itself is how we define using the prime ag
Absolutely.
land. I mean, that's the good question to ask. Because yeah, if it's there, but the whole idea is like you want to maintain it for agriculture, I mean, you are, I mean. So, I mean, but if they're just doing it because that didn't work the first time around, I guess it's different.
Mhm.
So they said they'll basically put out a RFP. And, you know, if somebody comes in with mowers, that's cheaper, they'll go that way, but, you know.
So it's just maintaining it. It's not necessarily the business plan
Oh.
to seed it with stuff to make it optimal for forage.
Oh,
Correct,
okay.
so it's, if, you know, the
So-
mowers are cheaper, they're gonna go with the mowers and they're gonna plant anything
Yeah, I would think if
else.
they're gonna do the sheep, you need to show a plan with like, you're gonna seed for whatever forage, if it's for meat production or milk
Yeah,
production or for wool, or whatever.
Right.
So that is a little different than, you know, just making it for agriculture in general.
But there are ways to work with it if someone wants to do that, either increasing rows, so you lose the density, or increasing the height of them, but then that comes in if you do variances for how high they can be. And,
You can see it from
Terrain and all
farther.
that stuff.
Oh, right, then
yeah,
it's affects the
especially-
view.
Well, yeah, it wouldn't be the lake view, but.
Well, on the ones that move, make noise, all sorts of stuff, but we don't have to solve it here. I just really wanted to just bring it up. And then if I can move on to the e-bikes question.
Yes, that was interesting.
Did everybody read the little memo from Kimberly Summerall? The nice short part of this. Forget Is this something that you all want to propose to the town board as a possibility for a future budget item?
Would this just be like a follow-up to what the city does, or? I mean, I know they have them spread out through.
I think this is talking more about actually providing grants to somebody to purchase their own e-bikes
Okay.
Yeah, 'cause it's like
as
400
a
to, like,
alternative
1,000,
transportation
700.
option.
Yeah. I thought it was
So-
interesting that they talked about their disabled veteran neighbor specifically. Some good help. Because we do have some people that are out in the middle of nowhere that don't have access to buses and stuff.
I think it's interesting that they're doing it in Denver because my first thought of an e-bike is, well, for a good 3 months of the year, it's kind of hard to ride.
Yeah,
your bike.
that's also something.
But-
It's gonna be
but
here
it's
too.
But in Denver, they're obviously having success with it as well, so. But
I think it would have limited use in the town as opposed to the city.
City,
Mhm.
right?
I mean, if you're talking uptown or, you know, that sort of area, I think it would be great, but.
So I don't think we could restrict it to a particular area. It would have to be kind of a townwide thing. It could probably be income restricted, I would think, if it's something we wanted to do, but.
I mean, it would also come under like disability stuff where I mean, we could grant monies through that for offering it.
We could ask a staff member to see if there's something going on in New York. I don't know if New York has any grants or anything that would apply to this.
Maybe.
A veteran, the VA might actually, if it's point in case, the VA might help them out with a purchase. I know they helped my grandfather out with his like motorized scooters and stuff. In that particular case.
It's up to you guys if you wanna forward the idea up and along as a possibility. It, again, I don't know if, you know, I worry about things like we were just talking about earlier with compost bins. Somebody would have to manage it and keep track of it. And obviously, we wouldn't be having e-bikes, we'd be providing money for the purchase, but somebody would have to follow up with, you know,
Make sure there's not taking
receipts
the
and
money.
payments and, you know, and what have you. that
Would we
they
have to look at
actually
the liability
purchase.
too? if
That's
the
what I was just
town's
gonna
signed
ask.
up For it?
Yeah,
What if
If
someone
something
gets in an
happened.
accident?
yeah.
Yeah.
What now, would they need a license? Because I know somebody that has an e-bike that doesn't have a license. They lost it because of DWI.
Oh,
Mm.
Do you need a license?
That's what I'm wondering.
Do you
And
need
I'm
to, like-
assuming that you don't, then you can, it's,
let me look this up for you.
Yeah. I
Like a
think
class
so.
M license, basically.
Because kids have them, so.
yeah, kids do, yeah.
But that doesn't mean they're doing it legally.
No, it doesn't, but I don't know. How fast do they go?
That was
They can
what
go
I was
sort of
wondering.
fast.
I know, I've seen people like.
Hey, you don't need them for the little scooter. either,
Okay, so electric bikes are legally similar to regular bikes without needing a registration or driver's license.
Okay,
You can't drive a class 3 e-bike without a helmet on though. I don't
They
know what
can't
the
ride any bike
difference.
without a helmet if you're over 12 in New York. So. Or if you're under 12, maybe it is.
I don't hope no 12-year-old's gonna be buying the e-bikes.
They're not gonna get a grant for it. Well, what do you guys think?
I like the idea, actually. I know plenty of people my own age that use e-bikes and e-scooters and stuff to get around. Even now, like when it's getting colder, I have a coworker that drives using one of them to work back and forth.
Yeah, you can get it with the fat tires too, so. Or
so you
chains.
could, so that could be better for the winter.
They make chains, they make spikes for winter time.
How would we know how much of an investment that would be?
Yeah.
I wonder. It would be
That's-
like how
that's-
many you would purchase and the whole.
That's my
It's all
question
involved in
is, you know, who figures this out and who, you know, who puts this into place and.
Would it be better to figure out a need first, but outside of this particular individual? Is this something that might,
Or maybe support another organization that could manage that.
Right, some other,
Or ship it off to Ontario
Nonprofit.
County.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
It just
it's
seems
worth
like our
pursuing.
county roads are pretty busy. People travel pretty fast on them and like you were saying.
County Road
uptown-
30.
The uptown area or
they fly.
that sort of thing,
makes
where there's
sense.
more populated, I
Yeah.
could see it, but we're kind of rural. And I just
People-
don't know.
People
Maybe the
ride
bid
bikes
could-
everywhere.
They do, they
Unfortunately,
do.
our roads are not well designed everywhere for
Yeah.
bikes,
Yeah.
but people do ride
They
bikes
do.
on every road in
Oh,
this
yeah.
town.
I know.
So it's, I mean,
That's true.
sometimes they've taken their life in their hands on Middle Cheshire Road. You know,
Oh,
other
yeah.
Well, if you go to
places.
That's
the
a
other
fast
side of the
one.
lake, that's main mode of transportation.
It is
Yeah.
across the lake, yes.
Yeah.
If they don't have a car, they don't have a car. and, like,
Yeah.
you need
I don't
groceries.
think
Get around
I
somehow.
don't think they have
Yeah.
e-bikes though.
No, they do, that's the.
The Mennonites have
Oh, yeah.
e-bikes?
They
Maybe not
sell them, I
e-bikes,
don't know if
but-
they have, they probably use them,
Wow, that seems weird.
yeah. It depends on.
It depends
I
on
guess,
their,
Yeah, how,
Restrictive. Yeah.
how mobile they are, yeah,
their beliefs and how tolerant they are of. what-
Technology.
if they're driving Mennonites.
Okay,
Maybe Karen Parkhurst might be a contact. to work
well, I mean,
through with
affordable transportation is one of our goals.
Housing.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely, and
That
it
would
really,
be-
that kind
that
of
would
falls
be.
in line with it.
Yeah.
I mean, we could send, where would we send it? Because it had to be budget for 24 at this point, because we've already done 23, so.
I wanna say planning and public works, but they would just.
Oh, yeah, they would
probably
ignore it,
think
so.
it was ridiculous.
Yeah.
Um,
I just thought
We
of
could go to
Karen,
affordable housing.
because she talks a lot about affordable transportation.
Mhm.
And I know she knows of different organizations around that. The nonprofits, she might have a better idea of who could help with that.
mhm.
It might also make sense, our town board's gonna be changing pretty significantly in January 1st, so it might make sense to work with the new town board on this as well, so. Also, one of our town board members is an avid cyclist, so,
Oh, they would be interested to hear about this then.
yes.
Maybe just for now, just having the town be a resource for this to provide or consolidate information to offer to people. And then if it's something we
Mhm.
find out like there is a demand for it, then I guess we can go from that point.
It's not a bad idea, I think it's just
Yeah,
who can manage this and,
it's very early stages of
Yeah.
talking
We
about
could
it.
write an article on it if someone wants to.
well, we could also just do a very small scale version of it at first, you know, have like $1,000 budget for two grants or
test
something and
area
see
or
what
something.
happens, you know? And
Bring an Eco-Palooza for test rides.
Oh my.
Yes, let's do it.
we could have a bike, so you could ask your friend to bring a bike to the environmental fair.
They could ride there.
So he has an like scooter, like a moped type thing.
Yeah.
So
There you go. You can bring your
They can be
e-boats.
sorta heavy.
We'll have a giant e-party,
There you
so,
go.
okay, so at this point, maybe can we forward it to affordable housing and to their committee and be like, this is something we're considering suggesting for next year, we'd like your input on it or something like that.
What do you think?
I don't know if we should do it yet. I'm not sure how to. I don't know.
Well, I think.
I mean, I think she's a good resource, but I'm
Yeah.
not sure
It's
that.
not ready yet.
Yeah.
So what do we want to do?
could you just email her for like consideration? Like, what do you think about this? Not even like putting it forward. Like, do you think this is a feasible thing for the area? Or?
Do you want me to just broach the topic with Jared too and see, you know, what he's thinking? I can ask him for some direction on it if you want.
I think we could at least send Karen the article.
Yeah.
Yeah, start there. See what she thinks.
Okay.
I can do that.
All right. Why don't you send it to Karen and
And Jared.
Jared and say the ECB is potentially interested in exploring this for the 2024 budget.
Next year.
Yeah, we've already said 23, so. Okay, so you can skip over the CIC thing. You already talked about that, local history team. Can we skip over that for this month, or do you have something important we got to?
Oh, we asked the history team to also look at the Black Point Cottage.
Yeah, the cottage is
Okay.
old.
Yeah, just a sidebar.
Just going back a little bit, you're asking for feedback on the incentive zoning and the scenic viewshed overlay to be sent to you from us.
That probably makes sense.
Okay, because that's what I thought I heard, but I was just clarifying.
What I would really love is for someone like Justin and Gary, who have a really knowledgeable point of this, to be able to be at one of the ordinance meetings or even the town board meeting when we're voting on it. Because I think, you know, it's really important to have people that are knowledgeable in the area in the space rather than just those of us who are, you know, planners involved with it. And so that's.
Yeah, I'll definitely make some comments on there. If I have availability.
Yeah.
Because it hasn't been, the draft hasn't been, I mean, it's just internal.
We've been discussing in the ordinance committee. So it's under discussion, and they had a good, you know, hour and a half discussion on it last ordinance committee meeting. But it's
But no one, I guess, from the outside or from the industry.
Are we talking solar or?
So we're talking solar.
Solar, yeah. Is it?
Yeah, solar has just been bounced around. It hasn't formally made its way to town board yet.
But the other ones,
But the other ones are, yes.
that's the one I was asking about.
Yeah, we need comments on the incentive zoning. By, I think everything's due next week.
Well,
Yeah,
you know, maybe they should just send them to Jean. CC me and send them to Jean. So that they can actually, if they
Sarah
want,
puts together
if they want them to actually be in
Agenda
the
though, right?
agenda.
Sarah does it. Why don't you send them to me? And I can get them to,
Okay.
yeah, send them to me, because I get things too.
She's more likely to get something
Lord.
done than me. I'm not there all the time. And would you be okay with any comments you send in being in the public record then as well? Okay, great. So that would, let's make sure those end up in the agenda too, in the public records documents. Okay. We good? We move on.
Yeah, sorry. I just
Anything
wanted to-
from local history or town tree board anybody wants to share? Like Eric?
This tree board, we're still putting together the heritage tree program. And when we planted a couple trees, or at least we located a place for it, a couple weeks ago, the members of the tree team had a really interesting idea of utilizing the space just on the other side of the entryway coming in. I know we were kind of thinking really big, but and maybe over time, over many years, putting 1, 2, 3 trees in there a year and making a kind of a rare specimen garden, a scenic little walk with benches, especially if the trees are in memory of people, notable people in town, like the former board member who had a dedicated, I don't think I met him, but yeah, dedicated tree site. Would be a good start for that. And just make it, some dogwoods if they grow there, some native species trees, curious, interesting. What would you call it, an arboretum, or is that more? Okay, an arboretum right across from town hall. A little place to sit and reflect, a place for staff here to get out and say, I need downtime.
It's a unused spot that.
Yeah,
It is.
it's a beautiful spot. It gets sun most of the day. The ground is level. It's fairly moist. The grass is growing really well there. I mean, we could soil test it and everything, but it just looks like a great location for something of interest like that.
Good idea.
That's a good idea.
We were just kicking that idea around. And with the 2 young men who work for the Parks Department too, they thought it was great.
They are great.
They are
They are
pretty
just
cool.
I
awesome.
just wish I knew which one was which. I've always been introduced to them as a group
Team.
and
Yeah.
never individually, so I don't.
I would say the one with the long hair, but they both have long hair.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, they're sweet.
I don't know, were you here when we were talking about, we have some money in the budget to buy some trees?
Yeah.
Yeah, so we've got to engage with them as well on that, so. Training opportunities. Shauna has a list of where everybody is with their training for the year.
Yep, Gary gave me his, so he's all set.
Okay, so if you're not all set yet, check in with Shauna and see if you are. And she will tell you where you need to be.
Is it 10 hours we need?
Oh,
No, 4.
They're
They're
good.
good.
Oh, I'm more than good after today.
New
Yes,
member.
you're
Are
good
you a
today.
new member? Are you new for this year?
No.
I didn't think so. I thought he was
Oh,
last.
it was last year.
Yeah, 12 if you're new. And you're good for the rest of
So you guys doing like a
time.
little pollinator?
That's okay,
over
I'll
there
still be
too, or-
taking
I know.
We also have
Not bad.
probably, I've been
Good.
talking to
Good,
Jared,
like-
we're gonna probably change the
Do a lesson over
policies
there.
that town board members will need training, and also
Little add-on.
currently it's written that you need 4 hours a year. I think we're gonna change it. The state policy indicates you can carry over 1 year to the next. So like if you did 8 hours of training today, it would count for
Yeah.
a 2-year period. So I think that's, we're gonna adjust it to that way so that it can be in line with the state. We were talking about trying to do that for next year, so. So hopefully that'll be a change for next year too, so.
We are having a luncheon on the 16th of November for all of our committee and board members. So we'd like to invite you to that. It's at noon at Crouch Hall on the 16th.
I don't think I can get off for that.
Sorry.
It's okay.
Not Eric's, Greenfront is catering.
Do you need an RSVP on that?
Yes, Sarah, please.
I think it said before the 9th.
Yes.
It's at noon, is it?
Yes.
And then one final thing, so as you guys know, I'm just the facilitator of this committee, but we do kind of need like a committee member who's willing to chair. So throw it around in your brain if anybody's at all interested in sharing going forward, other than just having a facilitator, so. It's really, really hard. But
Throw your hand up in there.
but yeah, think about it. It's just running through the list, but it would be nice to have a chairperson that was actually a committee member. So that would be good. So
Okay, I kind of just throw one last thing. I know we're a little over time. I spoke to a really nice gentleman, and you know him, or he knows you, Scott Harder.
Oh, gosh,
Worked with your
yes.
daughter.
Oh,
He's-
Scott
he's
Harder.
Wonderful
We
things to
go
say
way back with Scott
about,
Harder.
wonderful things
Yes.
about, say about your daughter.
Isn't that wonderful? So don't pick on your plans too hard.
No, he, I got to,
He's got good plans too, Scott.
Yeah.
got
He's a good
to
engineer.
talk with him
That's neat.
over lunch and sat with him and worked with him for most of the workshop or conference today, along with a gentleman from Auburn who's a code enforcer. And it got out to a little bit of an awkward start because they were talking between themselves about, it's tough to get our plans through these boards, the planning board, the zoning board. Freaking ECB people! Oh my god! and I'm just taking it in like, hey, Eric, what do you do in Canandaigua? Like,
come on, easy.
ECB. So after we massaged through the awkward silence, it was actually,
That's great.
I really enjoyed working with them. I have their cards. Scott and I were talking about just an idea of having a dialogue, inviting engineers and possibly representatives from developers to come in and simply have a dialogue with this board and any other board, and just get to know them not as adversaries, but as people. And what are our shared values? What do they want? What do we want? Just so we're not, not adversarial. We can agree on certain fundamental things. They can tell us what they want, and we can do the same thing.
Well, it'd be a good time to present things like invasive species list or where to find them, or
Exactly.
simple things like that we're always bringing up every time. So I'm glad to know we have a vicious what do you call them? Reputation.
We have teeth.
So,
Well, I mean, he wasn't negative toward us in general. It's just, boards and the bureaucratic hoops they see that they have to go through. And I understand that. Okay, from trying to put myself in their shoes, I can understand the frustration. However, I would like them to understand what we do and why we do it. And I think if we get a better understanding of how and what we're all thinking, moving ahead on projects down the line is just going to be that much easier. And I learned a lot from, especially Scott.
Yeah, he's a very knowledgeable fellow.
My background is not in engineering, it's not in construction. So when it comes to building techniques, building materials, I'm a history major. I was a teacher.
That's what it is with all of us, right? I mean, we all bring what we know from our experience to it, which is why we lean on Justin, when we're talking about ag, or we're gonna lean on you when we're talking about ecology, and that's why it's so important to have the variance on all these different committees.
And his point was, and I absolutely agree with him, that it boils all down to values, what we believe in, what we stand for, and it all comes down to being reasonable decision makers together. So I just thought that that's something maybe we could plan. He's up to working on it from his end if we want. Just having an unstructured dialogue with developers and engineers.
Yeah, I mean, it's
Just-
always open. I know sometimes they'll pop in for when they have, the particular projects on there, but it shouldn't be limited to that for them to come in.
Right.
I'm surprised we never really get anybody at these.
I'm always surprised.
Once in a while.
Yeah.
Not
Not
much.
since I've been in here.
I don't think I think one time.
Tony.
To Tara.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we had him.
Was that Jocelyn?
Mhm.
Yeah.
And when we had Buzz come in for his
Oh, yeah.
Hickox Road,
Oh, Buzz Cunin.
yes.
Yeah.
So we did have a couple of visitors this summer. Yeah, we usually don't get very many.
That's because they want the surveyors and engineers.
To
That's
do
why
it.
they're hired to represent them. And
Mhm.
sometimes the property owner will come in.
We're
Should-
on planning board, we see him.
Shannon
Yeah,
Chevy
more
did.
on planning board.
Shannon
that's right,
Chevier
Shannon.
did, yeah, she's like super involved. Now she's on the ZBA.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, why don't we make a motion to close the meeting before we don't have a quorum here anymore?
We need to stop talking.
Anybody want to move that? Because I'm not a member.
I'll make a motion.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Here we go.
Thank you.
Take those
you.
plants home, Shauna.
Yeah,
I will.